All right, everyone, we are going to go ahead and get started. It's 2:05 here in Chicago, so anyone else who files in will just have to join us a minute late. Still seeing some attendees jump onto the list, and want to thank you all for being here today. My name is Alyssa Conradi, and I am absolutely thrilled that you've decided to join us for my special webinar mini course, How to Set Better Marketing Goals and Actually Achieve Them in 2018. I have a ton of really important information to share with you today, and I want to make sure you have the best viewing experience possible on this webinar. That means I want you to do a couple of things. I want you to close all of the other programs running on your computer right now because I don't want you to have any buffering issues. I know this is hard, but that means no email. It means no Microsoft programs or anything else that's running in the background while you watch the webinar. I promise that will help make for a really smooth viewing experience. The second thing I want you to do is shut your door if you have one. If you have zero distractions during this webinar, you'll be able to really focus, take some notes, and implement what you're learning. I know muting out all of those distractions is tough for me when I'm on some webinars, but I promise to make every minute of this mini course worth your time if you can really focus with me here. And third, I want you to stay with me until the very end. I'm offering a super huge discount on our new training program, Changemaker Marketing Lab Online, but you can only get it if you stay with us till the very end. So now, as we kick off, I have some questions for you. I want you to jump into the questions pane, which is typically found over on the right side here of GoToWebinar, depending on your operating system, and type in your answers here if you feel so inclined. I want you to tell me, has your nonprofit ever had set defined marketing goals? Let's see what you have to say about this. Hillary's saying yes. See Jamie saying no, not really. Another no. Okay, well, if you said yes, you will definitely learn some tips about setting goals and a better way to achieve more results on this webinar today. And if your organization has never gotten serious about goal setting for marketing, well, then you're in the perfect place to start here on this webinar. Now, I have another question. For those of you who have set marketing goals, have you been happy with your results in terms of achieving those goals? So Hillary, that one maybe goes out to you since you're one of the few who said yes, or anyone else who's on the webinar who has set goals. Have you been happy in terms of your results achieving those goals? Seeing a no, seeing a sad face here. Okay, so that's what usually happens when I ask this question. No sad faces needed here because the good news is we can definitely turn this around for you with the information that I'm going to share on today's webinar. So if you haven't been happy in terms of achieving your goals, tell me why not. Some of the things I hear frequently here are there's just not enough time to do everything I want to do, or we always get distracted by other things that come up. I often hear anytime we set goals, we kind of fail to build them into a bigger marketing plan that we can actually execute on. Some people will tell me, I'm not sure how to measure the impact of what we're doing, or I'm not sure that even when we achieve these goals we set out, it really makes a huge difference for our nonprofit's mission. And that's a good one, one that we hear pretty frequently. And there's a reason so many of you get frustrated, I think, when it comes to setting mission-aligned goals and then actually seeing them through to fruition. When you work in the nonprofit sector, it's really hard. If you're like most nonprofit marketers I know, or people who wear a marketing hat within a nonprofit organization, you probably wear a lot of other hats as well. You probably operate with a pretty lean team on a shoestring budget, and you're probably constantly feeling pulled in a million other directions. That's what I've heard from a lot of the nonprofit marketers that we've worked with, that it's always something. They always are getting pulled by a coworker, a client, a board member, a donor, a beneficiary in a direction that's different from the one that they set out to focus on, that morning or that week when they got into work. And I'm willing to bet that each one of those people who are pulling you in different directions has their own ideas about what you should be focusing on from a marketing perspective. The end result can feel a lot like you're running on a hamster wheel. You're always moving, but are you really getting anywhere? But when you set smart marketing goals, ones that actually have a meaningful impact on your nonprofit's mission, and then put a brand strategy, marketing plan, and project management systems in place to ensure they never get derailed, that's really when everything changes. You can start working smarter, not harder, and marketing results will start coming your way with less effort and more ease, which is something you probably saw me talk about a little bit if you watched the video promoting this webinar. Your nonprofit will become better known, better supported, and healthier than you probably ever dreamed was possible. And you'll be able to go to sleep at night knowing that you did everything you could to advance your organization's mission. You probably won't even feel drained of every last bit of energy you have in the process, which would really be a huge win, if you ask me. So you're in the right place today if you know that setting smarter marketing goals and putting plans and systems in place for seeing them through will create more impact and more income for your nonprofit. But you've run into false starts every time you've tried to do it. If you can relate to this one, you're definitely in the right place today. How about this one? You might be in the right place if your nonprofit's messaging and branding is confusing, unclear, or inconsistent. I'm sure a couple of you can relate to that. You're in the right place if you're tired of spinning in circles because you're operating without an effective marketing plan. And you're in the right place if you're tired of letting everyone else set your priorities. Sure, your coworker probably thinks they really need that brochure designed right now, or they really need some support on that new event that they're working on, but you know that the 4 or 5 other priorities on your list today are actually much more important to your organization's overall goals, and you're ready to start figuring out how to stop getting derailed by that urgent and unimportant stuff that just seems to keep coming up every single day. You're also in the right place if you know it's time to better align your marketing plan and daily activities with your organization's mission and overall strategic plan or theory of change. If that's you, you're in luck. You know why? Because the number one reason to set smart, actionable marketing goals and then build upon them to create an effective marketing plan is that it lets you actually accomplish those goals, and when you do, you maximize your mission impact. I think we're really all working in the nonprofit sector because we care deeply about the mission of our organizations, so crucially important. Okay, so now that you know you're in the right place, I bet you have a question for me. Why am I the right person to teach you about setting better marketing goals and actually achieving them? I'll tell you a little bit about myself. In my work as the president of Prosper Strategies, a leading nonprofit digital marketing and PR firm, I've helped hundreds of nonprofits set marketing goals and then figure out how to go after them with focus. This work started for me actually way back many moons ago when I myself was working in a nonprofit marketing role and struggling, like many of you might be, to stay focused on what really mattered. I knew there had to be a better way, so I kept tweaking the way I set my goals and the way I developed my marketing plans, really the way I work day to day, until finally I landed on a couple surprisingly easy solutions that totally transformed my old organization's approach to marketing as well as our results. So then I started my own marketing firm. That's where I still am today at Prosper Strategies. Started the firm with my partner with the goal of helping nonprofits level up their marketing. Prosper Strategies still works today one-on-one with national nonprofits from the Great Books Foundation to the University of Chicago on marketing strategy and development. These are just some of the clients that we've worked with over our life as a firm here that you're seeing up on the screen. But after a few years of doing this kind of work one-on-one with my clients, it became clear that there was a much bigger need, or really a hunger, for better guidance on goal setting, marketing planning, and strategy in the nonprofit sector. I kept hearing that time and time again in our one-on-one work, and we still do. So our signature in-person training program, which focuses on setting goals, crafting a brand strategy, and developing a mission-aligned marketing plan, is called Changemaker Marketing Lab. We started offering this program about 2 years ago, and it's been an immense success, probably the most popular thing we do at Prosper Strategies. And today, we're excited to be launching the same program in an online format for the first time. But more on that way at the end of today's webinar. For now, let's get into the nitty-gritty, what you're all here for today, and talk about what we're going to focus on for the bulk of this webinar. We are going to spend our time together today going over the exact 4D system that we've developed here at Prosper Strategies to help nonprofits set better marketing goals and actually achieve them so that they can start really seeing the success that they know they're capable of. And I know that's why a lot of you are here. Our 4D system includes 4 phases: discover, design, drive, and deliver. I'm going to go over all of those 4 today, and you're going to be getting a ton of value here because those are the exact 4 phases we teach in more depth inside Changemaker Marketing Lab online. I'm going to quickly walk you through each of those phases to give you a snapshot of what the content of today's webinar looks like. And then because I want to bring as much value as I possibly can here in our hour together today, I want to go back into each one of those phases and give you the specifics in every single one so you can walk away from this webinar mini course with some real actionable tips and tools that you can use to really set your nonprofit up for success and make 2018 possibly your best year ever from a marketing perspective. So there are the 4 Ds that we're going to be going over today. So first, in the Discover phase, we're going to tackle something that I think a lot of you initially signed up for this webinar hungry for. You're going to learn how to set better marketing goals that are actually aligned with your organization's strategic plan, mission, or theory of change. Then you're going to learn how to discover your biggest priorities among those marketing goals because guess what? You're only human. Even if you have a big team, you can only tackle so much. And I know most of you probably don't have a big team. That's just not the norm in the sector. So here you'll be using our signature nonprofit marketing priority planner, which is really the key to this whole system. It's a super simple 5-page asset that I'll be offering you for download today, but it really unlocks the whole system. Second, in the design phase, I'm going to share some of the most important lessons we teach in Changemaker Marketing Lab about developing an effective marketing plan. We'll touch on elements of effective brand messaging and positioning and how that figures into an overall nonprofit marketing plan. We'll also talk about how to select the right tactics for your nonprofit based on your marketing goals, whether they're around social media, email marketing, events, media relations, or one of many, many others I could possibly choose from. And then we'll talk about how to plan out exactly what you're going to do with those tactics so you can really get focused and stop spinning in circles. Third, in the drive phase, I'll share some of the keys we teach in Changemaker Marketing Lab about how to put your plan into action. I'll introduce our concept of a marketing action calendar and show you how it can keep your marketing team, or even if you're just a marketing team of one, keep you on track with your goals. I'll also share how we work with our clients to help them determine who is responsible for what and hold everyone accountable. And finally, in the deliver phase, I'll show you how we determine what to measure and how we set up dashboards for tracking marketing success so you can do the same at your nonprofit. This is where we really take the guesswork out of marketing and figure out what's really working so you can deliver maximum mission results. All right, so if you're ready to dive in, let's go for it. Let's start at the beginning with phase number 1, where we'll talk about setting marketing goals and priorities. Again, this is the most critical part of any successful nonprofit marketing effort. In each of those 4 phases that I just talked to you about, I am going to share a tool of the trade. And the one that fits into this phase is called the Nonprofit Marketing Priority Planner. Now, I have a link to that you can go ahead and download right now, and I'm going to pop it into both the chat and the questions, because you might be looking at both places. But I don't want you to worry too much about downloading this asset right away, because I want you to really follow along, pay attention, and take some notes here. You can always come back and work with this a little bit later. So there's the link. If anyone's having any trouble seeing it, let me know. Someone just asked, sorry, I missed this a while ago, if the questions are where you should be typing your answers. And yes, that's correct. The questions are where you should be typing your answers. I'm following along there. So thank you for that question. And I'll be posting, anytime I have a link or something to share, I'll be posting it both into the questions and into the chat. So anyway, back to the Nonprofit Marketing Priority Planner. That is the main tool of the trade we use in the Discover phase. And it's really important because it sets you up for success in the whole rest of this entire process we're going to talk about today. So the most important thing to remember in this Discover phase, where we're going to talk about setting better marketing goals and actually achieving them, is that marketing goals do not exist in a vacuum. Marketing exists to advance your organization's mission, and so your marketing goals need to be directly based on your organization's broader overall goals. That is so important to remember. It's really crucial to the whole thing. So do you know what your organization's overall goals are? Figuring that out is the first thing that you're going to need to tackle here in the Discover phase. So let's talk about where you might find them. Most nonprofits have some sort of document or plan that lays out on a very high level what they're trying to accomplish. Most often, this will be called your strategic plan. You might call it your theory of change. You might call it your business plan. Hopefully some of those ring a bell. But If you don't already have some document on hand that really outlines your goals, I want you to go search and see after this webinar if you can find something. See if there's any document anywhere that's kind of foundational that all of you should be following around goals. Some nonprofits have as few as 3 high-level strategic goals, and some have as many as 10. It's really on the high end, so that's kind of what you're looking for. Let's take a look at an example here. Because everyone or almost everyone loves animals, I'm going to be weaving the example of the Marron Humane Society throughout today's webinar. They're a no-kill shelter in California, so gave me an opportunity to work in some images of cats and dogs, which is always fun. So in their strategic plan, which is pretty simple, they have laid out these 5 goals for their organization, which you're seeing here. There are things like lead the way in animal welfare and advocacy, expand our financial resources, play a vital role in our community. Your organization's goals might look a lot like these. Remember, we're talking overall goals here still, not marketing goals, or they might look quite different. Really depends how you decided to set up your strategic plan and kind of the thinking that you put into that organization. So I can already kind of feel some of you might be getting stuck or feeling like you could get stuck here, scratching your heads because you really don't think your organization has a defined strategic plan or something similar. If that's the case for you, don't worry. Some nonprofits are just too young or too small to have gone through a strategic planning process. They've let an old strategic plan fall out of date, just haven't gotten around to it yet. That's okay, not to worry. I'm willing to bet that if you get together with any other leaders at your nonprofit and put your heads together, you can come up with a list of a few of the most important goals you're looking to achieve as an organization over the next few years pretty quickly. I'm guessing you kind of already know them in the back of your mind, right? Even if they haven't been clearly defined yet. So once you've figured out your organization's most important high-level overall goals, you're going to want to list them out in the first box of the Priority Planner worksheet. And again, don't feel like you need to do this right away today. This is work that you can come back and start to spend some time on after the webinar. I think you're best suited to just follow along, but if you'd like to, feel free to print out those worksheets and fill them in. Really getting clear about what those organizational goals are is the first step here in the Discover phase. Next, you're going to want to brainstorm how marketing could contribute to each of these goals. This isn't a time to limit yourself, so don't worry about your budget, what you and your team have bandwidth for, or any other limitations. Just think about what marketing could do in an ideal world to drive each of those goals forward that are overarching for your whole organization. Your list of possible ways marketing could contribute to each goal can be as long as you want at this point. Don't worry about the length. So let's take a look at the Humane Society example again. Here are just a couple of their ideas for how marketing could contribute to 2 of the, I think, 5 goals that they had set in their overall organization strategic plan. So we can see some examples here. One of their overall goals is leading the way in animal welfare and advocacy. So one thing that they thought marketing might be able to contribute on that front is publishing studies and educational content about the state of animal abuse in the county in a content library on their website that they could then share also through social media and other channels. You can see some other examples here, how marketing might contribute to their goal on expanding financial resources. And really in this process, they had way more goals than what you're seeing here. They were listed out a whole ton and then really were able to narrow it down in the next phase, which we're going to talk about shortly. So that's what you'll do in part 2 of the Priority Planner, is really for each of those overall organization goals, write that long list of how marketing could contribute. And now it's time to really start cleaning house. So you're going to want to narrow down your brainstormed list as much as possible. You're going to want to get it to the point where you have really only as many possible marketing priorities as your team can handle. So a good rule of thumb in that respect is to multiply the number of people on your marketing team by 2 to figure out how many total priorities you should have for the next 12 months. This doesn't mean that each of those people will own one of those or 2 of those or 3 of those priorities. It's just a good number to get you in the general ballpark and make sure you're not overcommitting for what an average team size can handle. So to narrow down your list, first you're going to want to cross out anything that you know you don't currently have enough budget or the right talent to execute. And then this is probably the most important part here. You're going to want to cross out anything that's nice but not essential. That means it would be great to do, a donor might like it, your board president might like it, might make some people really happy, but it's not essential to achieving your mission this year, and it's really not more important than some of the other things on your list. So that's what you'll do on the next phase of the Nonprofit Marketing Priority Planner, is you'll rank what remains based on those criteria. So we have a table in the Nonprofit Marketing Priority Planner where you will rank based on a couple things. You'll rank based on likelihood that this can actually be achieved in the upcoming year, the budget available, whether you actually have budget available to do it, and the measurability of that specific thing that you're looking to do. If it's not that measurable, it might be a reason to pause and think about, do we really want to pursue this marketing goal if we won't even know if we'll be successful? So you'll kind of then go through and rank based on those criteria and get down to a list of what looks to be the best and most valuable marketing goals, the ones that are going to make the most sense to focus on, and those that are going to make the least sense to focus on, based on those that have the lowest scores. And from there, you can really decide, okay, we'd like to take these top 5 or top 7, depending on, again, that rule of thumb about the size of your team, and make those our top marketing goals for the year. So you'll see all of that in the Nonprofit Marketing Priority Planner. Again, that's the asset that we use in Changemaker Marketing Lab, but I'm giving you a preview of for free, and the download link is there in the chat, as well as in the questions, so you can go through and work on that following today's webinar. But in each of these 4D sections, I would also like to share a success secret that will help you do a better job setting effective marketing goals and actually achieving them. So the success secret for Discover is that nonprofits that set fewer priorities actually typically achieve a greater mission impact. I know that sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but it's actually true. It can be really tempting to slot just 1 or 2 more things into your final goal or priority list, but every additional priority spreads your focus thinner. So remember that rule of thumb I shared. Usually we use the figure of 2, but somewhere between 1 and 3 priorities for every person in the head count of your marketing team, and try to stay on the lower end of that spectrum. Remember that these priorities aren't assigned to specific people yet. It's just an effective way to establish the right number. So remember, you can come back and fill in that priority planning worksheet later, and once you finish it, you really should celebrate, because this is the first and most important step in working smarter and not harder as a nonprofit marketer. And it's something you absolutely have to do before you can create a marketing plan and put it into action. So let's move on, just imagining that you have your goals and priorities firmly established, which I'm sure will take some time. Now it's time to dive into phase 2 of our 4D system, so we can make sure you actually achieve those marketing goals you just set really at the highest level possible. Phase 2 is all about creating a brand strategy and a marketing plan. And that's what most of our clients tend to get the most excited about. But we spend a lot of our time on in Changemaker Marketing Lab online too, and I'd like to give you a preview of some of the things that we'll be sharing inside of that course today. So we use 2 key tools of the trade during this phase of Changemaker Marketing Lab. The first one is a brand-based template, which you'll use to establish your positioning statement, target stakeholders, stakeholder profiles, key messages, and messaging matrix. Don't worry if that sounds like a lot. I'm going to break it down in a minute. And the second tool of the trade here in this phase is our marketing plan template. If you want to create a really effective marketing plan, but you feel like you just don't even know where to start, this tool of the trade might be your favorite one of all of them. Unlike the Nonprofit Marketing Priority Planner, the key that really unlocks this whole system, I can't give away these 2 tools of the trade for free, but I can give you some of the biggest takeaways from them today so you can start thinking this phase through for your organization. So the first thing you need to do in the design phase to get to know, and I mean really know deeply, your nonprofit stakeholders is you need to figure out who they are. Are they your program participants? Are they individual donors, board members, the community? The general public is definitely not an answer when you're asked the question, who are your nonprofit's target stakeholders? That just is not sufficient for the work that you need to do to level up. Your decision about who your most important stakeholders are should be tied to the marketing goals you just established in the Discover phase using the Priority Planner. And I'd really like you to think about, you probably have some idea of who your target stakeholders are, but how well do you really understand how those stakeholders think and feel and react in regards to marketing from your organization, communication with your organization, how are they thinking? What's their mentality like? What resonates with them? As you work to answer that question, it can be really helpful to create a set of stakeholder profiles. Here's an example of the stakeholder profile worksheet that exists within our brand-based template in Changemaker Marketing Lab online. The beauty of this kind of profile is that it gets not just at the demographics, but also at the psychographics of your target stakeholders. Next, you want to figure out what key messages you need to communicate to those stakeholders to achieve your goals. What things do you really need them to know or do or understand? Here's an example of the 4 most important key messages that the Humane Society that we've been talking about as an example landed on as a result of this process. And I said 4, but actually it's 3. They got even more specific and honed it down. You can see them here on the screen. There's no reason to shop at a pet store. There are plenty of happy, healthy pets to adopt right here in Marin County. At the Humane Society, we're more than just a no-kill shelter. We're educating our county on animal welfare issues. We also provide obedience training. And kind of more broadly, happy, healthy pets are a critical part of every family. Once you have your key messages in place, they might look something like that, or again, they might look very, very different. You'll need to decide on how you're going to make each of them uniquely relevant to each of your stakeholders. What Marin County Humane Society says about the value of adopting rather than shopping is going to vary a lot depending on whether they're talking to a prospective pet parent versus a donor versus a community or government leader. So I'd like to just take a little break here and talk about a question that I had come in from Samantha Hale. Samantha says, we have 9 strategic objectives for the year. I do have an intern, but she will be ending her time with me in a few months. So is it safe to say that I should have about 18 different marketing goals for the year, 2 for each objective? No, that makes my head spin and makes me feel like you are going to be really stressed out all year. The rule is not goals per overall organization objective, it's goals per people on your team. So we really base it on the bandwidth of what an individual person can handle. And if your goals are big and heady and they're going to take some time to pursue your marketing goals, you really, even if you're the most efficient and effective nonprofit marketer ever, you really only should commit to owning, I would say, a very, very max of 6 big goals per year. I would say it should be more like 3. Your intern probably cannot fully own, unless they're the best intern in the world, any of your big overall goals. They can certainly support them, and that might give you some additional bandwidth. But to answer the question, the number of marketing goals you choose should be based on the number of people on your team, not the number of overall organization goals. There might be some organization goals that just don't get addressed by marketing every year, and that's okay. You're only as big of a team as you are. You're only one person and then your teammates. So really get focused on what you can actually achieve in a year and get realistic about a smaller number of goals. Okay, so moving back here, next step is once you have your key messages in place, you'll need to decide how you're going to make each of them uniquely relevant for each of your stakeholders at your nonprofit. You're welcome, Samantha. Happy that answered your question. Don't stress out. So what Marin County Humane Society says about the value of adopting rather than shopping is going to vary a lot based on whether they're talking to a prospective pet parent versus a donor, community, or government leader. Just wanted to refresh your memory that that's kind of where we were going here before I paused to answer the question. So that's why our brand-based template includes a messaging matrix. Again, the brand-based template is the key tool here in this phase. And that's what our clients use to write a targeted version of each key message for each stakeholder group. I definitely suggest that you don't stop by just coming up with a few key messages that should work for everyone overall. Get really nuanced and make your key messages specific to each group. Now, those are some key elements of your messaging that we do go over in Changemaker Marketing Lab in more depth, but with those types of things in place, assuming that you have them all set, you're well on your way to an effective marketing plan. The next part of the design phase is one almost everyone wants to jump to right away, and that's choosing your marketing tactics. Now that you know what you're trying to achieve, who you're trying to achieve it with, and what you need to say to them, you finally can choose the vehicles to make it happen, but just be cautious and don't jump into tactics too early, too much before this. Most nonprofits choose too many tactics and spread themselves way too thin, just like most of us are apt to choose way too many goals. That question I just took is evidence of that, right? If you've ever felt overwhelmed at all, thinking about how you need to be on every single social channel or send your newsletter once a week, get that annual report done before the year is out, all these things that are on our plates every day, keeping up with that regular cadence of events, and oh wait, you should probably learn about AdWords and some other new technology soon too. If that's kind of what runs through your head every day, you are absolutely not alone. Probably more the norm than the exception in the world of nonprofit marketing. So that's why we've created some really great helpful tools within Changemaker Marketing Lab to help our clients pick the tactics most likely to help them achieve their goals. One of those tools is the funnel that you're seeing here. So we see that most stakeholders move through a 4 or 4+ step process when deciding whether to interact with, give to, or otherwise support your organization. They start as strangers when they first learn about you. As you can see on this chart here, they then become visitors either to your website or in person at your facilities or at an event. That's sort of a general term we use for saying, they're really interacting with your organization. If you do the right things at this point, they often become supporters, people who just generally help advance the work of your organization. And if you're really successful, often they'll become donors or clients or, depending on how your organization's set up, people who are really taking that desired action to support you. And finally, if you can make them happy once they're a donor or a client, once they're really in your universe, they'll often come back and become an advocate who sends more strangers back into your funnel. In our work with hundreds of nonprofits, we figured out that the most effective tactics in each stage are not always exactly what you would assume. They're really what you're seeing here for most organizations. And my suggestion is that you choose no more than 3 and no fewer than 1 tactic from within each of these segments of this funnel to really focus in on over the next year. Think about which of these tactics are best aligned with the goals you established in the priority planner once you get back to working on that, which ones are best aligned with your stakeholders' preferences, and also, you have to be realistic here, which ones are best aligned with your skill sets and existing resources at your organization. Honestly, everything else can wait for future experimentation. I really believe that. So don't feel like you have to do it all. Remember, this is about less effort and more ease, which ultimately will bring more mission impact. Once you've selected the marketing tactics you want to focus on, you are going to need to decide exactly what you will do in regards to each of those tactics that you select. This is where you make sure your marketing activities are actually contributing to your organization's goals. We always teach our clients to use a format like this one, which you're seeing up on the screen for one specific tactic, Google AdWords, where they answer 6 important questions for each tactic they select. What, when, why, who, how much, which really means budget, and importantly, how will this contribute to our marketing goals? Here's another area where I don't want you to get stopped up by what you don't know. There might be some tactics, sure, that you want to execute on and that you don't feel like you or your team have a really good handle on. PPC advertising or web optimization might be good examples there. If you end up signing up for Changemaker Marketing Lab online at the end of this webinar, we're going to provide some basic training within that program on the most effective and the most popular tactics for most nonprofits we work with from that funnel slide that you saw a few slides ago. But there are so many low-cost and free educational resources out there beyond Changemaker Marketing Lab too, plus lots of freelancers ready and willing to help you with things you're not as strong at. So again, be realistic about what your team can actually achieve and where their skills lie, where your skills lie, but don't let some specific limitations that you have in your mind about what your marketing team is capable of set you back and keep you from pursuing a tactic that you really feel strongly could deliver major results for your organization. And there you go. Once you plan what you're going to do with each tactic by filling out a worksheet like that one that you saw on the last slide for each of the tactics you selected, you're ready to move on to the next step. You'll have the bulk of your marketing plan done, and we can start talking about the next phase, which is actually putting it into action. But first, the success secret here in this phase is keep it simple with your tactics at first. You're probably hearing me say that a lot. That's kind of an overall theme that's coming up as we talk here. The less you try from a tactical perspective, the better you can test and optimize and really get an understanding of what's working and what's not. You can always add on more later, so don't worry about doing it all at once. All right, so again, imagining you're making quick progress through this work and that your tactics are all selected. Things are about to get really interesting here in the drive phase. This is where we teach our clients to put their marketing plans into action. Tools of the trade are super important in this phase. They include a marketing calendar and a project management system. There's also several others that we offer inside of the course, but those are the two most important that we'll talk about today. Let's chat for a minute about the marketing action calendar because it's really critical. Remember the part about making sure that your goals actually happen that you probably saw in the title of this webinar? This is a part of our 4D system that actually makes all the difference here. This is the exact calendar format that we use with our clients, and of course, they modify it based on their specific needs. As you can see, there's a spot to put in each tactic you selected, a spot to detail what's happening with each tactic each month, and a spot to detail within each one who is responsible. We also leave room to put in overarching content themes by quarter or month that can keep your marketing focused on the same consistent message. And importantly, there's a spot where you'll tie back to your goals by answering the question, how will we know if we're successful this month in regards to this specific thing? So you're filling that in every time. This is really easy to fill in once you have a tactical selection done, that you've gone through that funnel, chosen the tactics you want to focus on and filled them in on your tactical selection sheets, because you've already established when everything is happening through the process of doing that. You've already established who is responsible for what. So it's just a matter of slotting it in. But having everything in one place on one calendar will do a ton to move your marketing goals forward. Like I said, the marketing calendar is super important, but it's just a document. We strongly advise all of our clients to invest a little bit in a project management system where they can set every item up in that calendar as a specific to-do assigned to a specific person with a specific due date. So we are all about accountability here, as I'm sure you can tell. Our two favorite project management systems here at Prosper Strategies are Basecamp, which we spent many, many years on, and that's the one you're seeing on the screen here, and Teamwork, which we're using now. In Changemaker Marketing Lab Online, we will provide you with a plug-and-play project management system that you can start using right away, which is a huge asset if you need to get moving quickly and you're strapped for time. But ultimately, it's a great idea to set one up for yourself to meet your specific needs and get your team on board. And that's it. The phase is pretty quick, pretty to the point. It's not complex, but it's the part that most nonprofits make missteps on. So what's the success secret in this phase? To get every big thing you want to accomplish onto your marketing calendar and every big and little thing you want to accomplish into your project management system. So if it's going to get done, it needs to be in one or both of those places. With our clients, we see it again and again. If it doesn't make it onto the calendar or into the project management system, it just doesn't happen. All right, well, we have finally made it to the fourth and final phase of our 4D system for setting better marketing goals and actually achieving them, and that is the deliver phase. This is where you're going to measure your marketing results and successes so you can do more of what's working well. We use two key tools in the deliver phase, a metrics dashboard and an accountability meeting system, both of which I'll tell you more about in just a minute. The first thing we always have our clients do in the deliver phase is set a measurable objective for each goal and priority. Let's take a look at the Humane Society example again and see how two of their goals translate into marketing objectives. So one of their marketing goals that they needed to then translate into an objective is tip the balance of online versus offline donors in favor of online donors. So this organization's been around for a long time. For a while, many of their donations were coming from personal relationships, and they started to notice sort of a move toward more online giving, but they really wanted to, as a marketing team, drive that forward in the year ahead. So they put some numbers around it. They set a goal of attracting at least 100,000 visitors to their website in 2018 and converting 2% of those visitors into online donors. And their second goal here was to successfully launch the OBehave Obedience School. It's kind of the cute name of their obedience school. Build awareness among qualified pet parents and get them to sign up. So this one ties back, if you remember, their overall organizational goal about bringing more financial sustainability to their organization. They decided to launch a social enterprise that actually generated its own revenue through obedience training that would help the whole organization really be able to step up to the next level because they wouldn't be so reliant on donations. They'd actually have some of their own revenue streams. So this goal, they set the measurable objective of driving at least 150 signups for the OBehave Obedience School by December 2018. So you can see how the goals are a bit more general in nature. They don't have numbers tied to them. And when you get to objectives, that's where you put specific numbers to each of these goals. You're probably all familiar with that concept, but a little refresher definitely helps. So once you have those measurable objectives in place, you are almost to the finish line. We're really getting there. To figure out if you are actually achieving your goals and objectives, you are definitely going to need some sort of dashboard. What you choose depends entirely on your organization, your preferences, and the tools at your disposal. You might use something as simple as a Google Sheet to track metrics. Here's an example of one for our clients. Might not look that simple, but it's something that we've really been able to use to keep a good eye on their marketing overall week to week with only about 3 to 5 minutes of weekly updates to it. Or you might use something as sophisticated as a custom HubSpot or Google Analytics dashboard like this one. Again, the tools and format you use don't matter that much. What really matters is the fact that you're consistently measuring your results and that you have some way to track whether you're really achieving those measurable objectives you set out, which tie back to your goals, so that you can determine what's working and really optimize accordingly. And last but definitely not least, we can't close the deliver phase of our 4D system for setting better marketing goals and actually achieving them without addressing the people element. People are the thing that always throw all of this off, right? Ourselves included. Everybody needs some accountability, every marketing team. Whether that team is just you or you're that rare exception with a nonprofit marketing team that is 20 people strong, you need some accountability. One of our favorite tools for encouraging marketing team accountability is just a very simple weekly accountability meeting. If your marketing team is any more than a single person, we suggest you hold a weekly meeting with an agenda like this, like what you're seeing on the screen. You can definitely tweak this to suit your own needs, but this meeting not only keeps you looking at your metrics dashboard and your marketing calendar frequently, it also holds everyone on your team, including you, accountable to what you say you'll do, and make sure that your goals actually get achieved. So what if you're a team of one? I think that if you're a team of one, you should find an accountability partner. That's my best suggestion for you. You could have a check-in with someone who's in a similar role at another really small nonprofit, maybe once a week or even once a month to help you stay on track. And we can actually help you meet someone within Changemaker Marketing Lab online. Like I might have mentioned already, we are going to have a very vibrant Facebook community, I believe, that will really foster this sort of thing. So I would like to just take a quick break here and answer a question from Jennifer. She says, I'd love to craft a plan that can be updated year over year for consistency and have the opportunity to amend. What are your thoughts on that? Yes, Jennifer, that is a great idea. Definitely something we suggest, that a plan is not a stagnant document, but rather a living, breathing, growing document that can be updated year over year. So what we typically do is we use these various different tools of the trade and worksheets and charts and things that I've been showing today as parts of our marketing plan. And we lay the entire marketing plan out in a Google Doc. And the goals, the overall goals, sometimes will carry over from year to year, as will some of the things that are going on with the tactics. There will definitely be some things that stay the same and that you continue to build upon, and some things you add in. So we then look at that initial iteration of your first year's marketing plan as your foundation. You can take that first plan, update what needs to be updated in it, just create a duplicate copy in Google Drive, update what needs to be updated, most importantly, update the calendar. But there are certain things like blogging, for instance, if that's the tactic, that you are not going to need to update in detail every year. You're doing blogging for the same reason you were doing it before, probably. Maybe your topics change a little bit. Of course, your calendar for your posts change, but the overall concept of blogging doesn't need to change, just as one example. So build an initial plan as a foundation. Every year or even every quarter or whatever time frame makes sense for you, take that plan, duplicate it, update what needs to be updated, add on, but don't start from scratch every single year. I hope that answers your question. All right. So finally, the success secret here in this phase is be consistent. Fill in your dashboard every week to track your progress and never skip an accountability meeting, even if it's only with yourself. That's the only way to make sure that your goals are actually getting accomplished. And now it's time for another celebration, because we have made it to the end of this fourth and final phase of our 4-phase system for setting better marketing goals and actually achieving them. So there you have it. That's the 4 phases in a nutshell. And guess what? Because you spent some significant time on phase 1 with me today and you already have our tool of the trade available for your download there, by the way, we'll email that out to you too after today's webinar, you already are well on your way to completing the first of those 4 phases. I'm willing to bet that a lot more of this is stored up in your brain than you thought. So now my question to you is this. Are you excited to finally set marketing goals that are aligned with your organization's mission and strategic plan? Are you excited to springboard off of those marketing goals to create a marketing plan that will make a huge difference for your organization? And are you excited to put that plan into action and achieve major results with less effort and more ease? Again, that's my common refrain. We don't need to put in so much effort to make a mission impact. You're about to finally get to that finish line, get to a place where you don't have to spin in circles anymore, no more rough starts and stops. We're about to get your marketing plan in place and make sure that you actually achieve what you set out to achieve this year. Now, I'm not sure exactly why you showed up here today, but I'm willing to bet it could be one of these reasons. You're likely tired of going a million miles an hour with marketing, but feeling like you're still not accomplishing the really big and important things. That's exactly how I felt in my first nonprofit marketing job, and it is no fun. I was ready to start doing things differently, and once I did, like I told you guys in the beginning, everything changed for me. I started really to accomplish more and feel so much better about how I was working day to day. Everything was different almost overnight. You might be here because you're tired of setting goals and making plans that don't actually happen. We've talked about this a ton. You need some accountability for yourself and your team, and you need to keep other people from within or outside of your organization from continually derailing what you set out to accomplish. You might have showed up because you want to feel like you can finally measure and prove the impact of your marketing efforts. That's awesome. I really got tired of others at my organization always thinking of marketing as a kind of, soft science too. And when I put the things I talked about today into place, everyone started to take marketing more seriously. We were able to get more budget for marketing because it became clear that we were contributing more to the advancement of our organization's mission. You might have shown up because you know that marketing can have a bigger mission impact on your nonprofit's mission, but you're not sure where to start. I love that one too, because when we get into the topics that I covered here today in depth through CML Online, we don't just show you where to start. We show you every step along the way to maximum mission impact for your nonprofit. Now, I want you to know this before we get into the final part of this webinar. My commitment is to share only what I know works from my work in a nonprofit and running an agency that has served and trained hundreds of nonprofits. There is no fluff, no theory, no guesswork in what I teach inside Changemaker Marketing Lab and now Changemaker Marketing Lab Online. There's just battle-tested strategies that so many nonprofits have used and thrived with before you. So in a nutshell, I teach what works. So with that, do you want to go deeper on everything we covered today? Are you thinking you might want to work directly with me and a community of like-minded nonprofit marketers to set better goals, craft a marketing plan you can actually execute, and then learn how to put it into action? If the answer is yes, I would love to invite you inside our brand new program, which you've heard me mention a couple times today, Changemaker Marketing Lab Online. Again, we've been doing this program for a long time in person, but this is the first time ever that we are offering it in an online format. It's the very first web-based marketing course for nonprofits that covers setting marketing goals, developing a brand and messaging strategy, crafting a marketing plan, and putting it into action from A to Z, and then puts all of those steps into a highly detailed step-by-step action plan that you can replicate in your own nonprofit. It's the exact same program that national nonprofits have been sending me and my team around the country to teach on a one-on-one basis, brought directly to your office, your computer, on your schedule. So here's what you'll get inside Changemaker Marketing Lab Online. You will find 8 modules of live training sessions that go into way more depth on the topics we covered today. I wanted to give you a good taste of what's happening in Changemaker Marketing Lab. So I really went over the whole program at a high level, but we'll go into much more depth. You will get on-demand replays of each module, available forever, in case you ever have to miss one or you want to go through them at your own pace or revisit something, share it with someone at your team. They'll be available to you forever. You will get cheat sheets, checklists, resource guides, and swipe files to help you through every phase of establishing your goals, creating a brand strategy and marketing plan, and putting it into action. You'll also get all those tools of the trade we shared here with in-depth guidance on how to use all of them. So that's the priority planner, the brand-based template, marketing plan template, the marketing calendar, plug-and-play project management system, accountability meeting system. I could go on and on. We're bringing a ton of value to this program. You'll also get an active private Facebook community where you can discuss these topics every day and get support from me and your fellow nonprofit marketers. Because this is the first time I'm offering this course online, my commitment is that I am going to sign into that Facebook group every single weekday, make sure that I'm interacting with you and there to answer all your questions. So let's talk about what's inside each of these modules, just really quick. In Module 1, we'll go over solidifying your marketing goals and priorities. In Module 2, we'll go over getting to know your target stakeholders. Module 3, you'll learn to write your positioning statement and your key messages. In Module 4, you'll learn how to choose the right tactics for your organization. And then my personal favorite, in Module 5, you will learn how to use those chosen tactics effectively. I'll share inspiration from other nonprofit organizations, as well as some training on some of the most popular but lesser understood tactics that I see a lot of nonprofits using. In Module 6, you'll learn how to put your marketing plan into action reliably over the long term. In Module 7, you'll drive results and measure the impact of marketing. And in Module 8, you'll bring everything together into a final marketing plan and really learn how to optimize your results over the long term based on what you're learning in the tracking that you're doing of metrics and just the experimentation you're doing with different tactics. You will be able to really optimize things. So that's a ton of value right there, but because I want to make sure you walk away from this course totally ready to rock and roll, I'm adding in a few bonuses. I'm going to do a bonus module within the program on developing or refining your mission and vision. I know most of you probably have those statements set already, but if you want to see if you can make those statements even better or you need to revisit them based on some changes to your organization, this module will be released at the same time as Module 3, but you can watch it at any time after that point. I'm also going to add a bonus burning questions answered session at the end of Module 8. So technically that would be Module 9, right? Now every module will be live and we're going to have time for questions at the end of each module. But if you get all the way through the program and you still have burning questions, you're in luck because we will be taking them in the burning questions answered module, the bonus Module 9. Could be anything from how to use Google Grants to get more exposure for your organization to how to wrangle in a team member who keeps getting off track. We will go into anything and everything that you care about most. And as I mentioned, you will also get lifetime access to our private Facebook group where I'll be checking in every day, and so will your fellow nonprofit marketers. We'll be live for the first module in just a few short weeks on Thursday, February 21st at 2 p.m. Central. Each live session will be just 60 minutes long, so there will be a really easy way to fit it into your day, even if you can't watch it live, because you'll also get the recordings. If you're feeling like you don't want to wait until February 1st to get started, 21st, I should say, to get started, you do not have to worry. As soon as you sign up, I'll send you some optional pre-work you can get started on, and we'll also be actively chatting about everything within our Facebook group right away. I might even throw in a few Facebook Live sessions to warm the group up before we get started on the 21st. And on the flip side, if you're thinking, whoa, 8 weeks seems pretty fast to move through this content, do not worry because I'm going to make it super digestible for you. But if you want to move through it slower, you will have access to those recordings for life. So I obviously think this program has a ton of value, but I'd love you to take it from people who have gone through it in, again, the one-on-one basis. This is the first time we're doing it online, not just from me. So I've included a few testimonials here. In the interest of time today, because I know you're all busy and need to get back to work, I'll skim through these, but know that they're on our website too if you ever want to take a look at what people have to say about Changemaker Marketing Lab Online and the experience. So if you want results like what some of those testimonials are indicating, and you're ready to set better marketing goals, build a brand strategy and marketing plan, and put it into action, at this point you might be thinking, okay, this sounds awesome. I'm a little nervous, I'm a little excited, but what does this cost? So don't freak out when you see this number, because in the past, when we've done Changemaker Marketing Lab on a one-on-one basis, direct with individual organizations, we charge $15,000 for this program. But you can get started today for just one payment of $75 and then 11 installments of $75 to follow each 30 days apart, because we want to make this as accessible to as many people as possible. But because you're kind of our first group here, and I'm so happy that you showed up, you're early adopters, that's actually the most you'll pay for Changemaker Marketing Lab Online. There's actually a way to spend a whole lot less. Really want to thank you guys again for being here, being early adopters. So if you are one of the first 10 people to sign up, you can get started for only $50 right now, and then 11 additional payments of $50. That means you'll be saving $300 total if you're one of the first 10 people to sign up. And to sweeten the deal even further, I am going to offer a bonus 30-minute one-on-one coaching call with me for each of the first 10 people who sign up as well. You can use it whenever you want over the next 12 months. Of course, if you want to pay for the full course up front rather than in 12 installments due to your budget or your spending policies, we can definitely make that happen. Just email me. I'll put my email down here in the chat, and let me know what you prefer. We're pretty flexible when it comes to payment policies, and our biggest goal is just to get you in the door here so you can start getting some of the value of this program. We've made those monthly installments our default option because we want to make it as easy as possible for you to get on board. So, all you have to do to sign up is click the link here that I am going to post into the chat, and I will put it up in our question section as well. It'll also be on the slide that we'll land on at the end of this deck. Just need to go there, scroll all the way down, and you'll see a box that looks like this one that you're seeing on the screen right now. And if the early adopter box is still there with no note in it, that means that we haven't hit the first 10 yet, and the first 10 spots are still remaining. Still available if you don't see anything. When you click that box, you're going to be taken to the order form where you will just have to enter your contact information and your payment info, and you will be in the door. Within the day, 24 hours, I will send you access information for our private Facebook group where the party is going to be starting up right away. And you'll have the pre-work you can get started on within a week or so if you're really an overachiever and you want to get going. Then before February 21st, you will get access to the full course portal, which we're using Teachable to run. So you can sign in, and I'll remind you to log on for our first session on February 21st at 2 p.m. Central Time. As soon as that session is done, the recording and all the accompanying module materials, the cheat sheets, the tools of the trade will be online. In case you have to miss the session or you want to rewatch it later, share it with others at your organization. No limits on the number of people at your organization who use this. You can all use it together, so team up, get everyone on your marketing team involved. One other thing I have not mentioned yet is that this is the first time we are offering Changemaker Marketing Lab online in an online setting rather than a workshop setting. So we're really making this discount more significant than we would in the future, even for other Changemaker Marketing Lab online sessions. We're looking at this course being over $1,000 or more for future sessions. So now is definitely the time to jump on board between that early adopter, deep discount, and the fact that this is the least expensive price we're ever going to offer Changemaker Marketing Lab online for. Remember, there's a lot of content in here, but if you want to go the slow and steady route, the recordings of the live sessions will always be there for you, so you can always go at your own pace. You don't have to get this work done in 8 weeks. All right, and if you've ever bought an online course before, you probably know that all of them have some sort of money-back guarantee, or at least they should. So what's our policy here? We do offer a 100% money-back guarantee, but I want you to listen up because the way we approach this is maybe a little different from what you've seen in the past. We have a very tight refund policy for a really good reason. We only ever attract go-getters into our programs, those who are genuinely serious about doing the work and getting it done. No matter if it takes you a little longer or you can zip through the whole program in 8 weeks, what's important is that you are able to do the work. I can't get you the results if you don't do the work. So if you do all the work and you show us you did it and you're still not satisfied, we will gladly give you a refund within 60 days. Again, that's how we attract go-getters, people who are genuinely serious about doing this work. So don't worry, I am still going to stay on the line for questions here, but just want to remind you, if you are ready to set your marketing goals, craft your brand strategy, build your marketing plan, and then bring it to life, we are ready for you inside Changemaker Marketing Lab online. Again, 75 installments, one installment of 75 today and 11 installments of 75 to follow, each 30 days apart, or get moving quickly with that monthly payment of 50 today and 11 of 50 to follow if you're one of the first 10 and you are ready to rock and roll. Again, the link is here, and I am going to stay on the line now. We'll go back to that slide, but I am going to stay on the line here to answer some questions. So I see a lot coming through, so give me just a minute to go through them. And hopefully you can hang on with me here for a few extra minutes. I think each of your questions will be helpful to each other. So, have a question here. Who is this from? Caricia, hopefully I'm saying your name right. I am excited. My board just had their retreat yesterday, and the staff has one in early February, so this webinar was right on time to help me prepare for the meeting and help with setting realistic goals. Well, thanks, not a question, but I'm happy we got to get that feedback, and I hope it really was valuable to you. Asking if you can get the recording. Yes, absolutely. We will be sending the recording around for you with reminders about how to sign up for the course and get the discount. Will this webinar be available to re-listen? Will the slides be available? Yes and yes. Just got pulled into a meeting. Sorry we weren't able to answer that on time. All right, Mark says he would like to sign up, emailing me now. All right, Mark, I am very confident that you're one of our first 10 early adopters. You say you just signed up. Yay, yay, yay. So exciting. Cannot wait to work with you inside the program. Sarah said, just email me a question. Do not currently work for a nonprofit. Rather, I am looking to start a nonprofit in the near future. Will this program help me, or should I look for other resources? That is a really excellent question, Sarah. I'm so happy that you're thinking about marketing in the early phases here. I do think this program will help you if you are clear on the basic strategy behind the nonprofit that you're looking to start. If you know generally what you're going to do and why and who you're going to serve and what that looks like from a sort of a business model perspective, you don't have to have everything figured out, but I think this course can be very, very valuable to you. If you're still in the more vague planning phases where you're exploring a million other ideas, I don't think that means you necessarily should not sign up for the course. I think you will still get some significant value for it. I really do. But I think that you will really want to look at it more as kind of initial education to inform future work that you'll come back to from a marketing perspective. You'll be way ahead of the game when it does come time to really go in full steam on marketing at that phase. But I think, it's really dependent on where your head's at and what you want to be spending your time on right now. If you have a basic idea of where you're going, absolutely, I encourage you to sign up. And I will look at your email too. We can talk about the topic in more depth. All right, flew through those questions. So let's see, anyone else have any other questions that I can answer for you here today? Feel free to type them in on the question side here. I'll wait just a minute more and I will put back up on the screen here the URL for where you can sign up. I will also type it in on our questions. And there you go, send to all. So everyone has the URL. So reminder that we will be sending around a recording of today's entire presentation, as well as the slides. We will also include the priority planner in case you haven't downloaded that yet. And the most important thing is we will include information about how to sign up for Changemaker Marketing Lab online. And hopefully you'll still be able to get in as one of those first 10 people in the door. Don't worry if you get in the course portal and you see nothing in there yet. Know that we don't start until the 21st, but I will be sending very shortly here information about our Facebook group and some pre-work you can do if you're fired up to get going. So thank you again for all of you. This is a great group, really engaged. We had really nice turnout as well. So thanks for being here to hear about Changemaker Marketing Lab online, and more importantly, to hear about how you can set better marketing goals and actually achieve them. In 2018, I am confident that all of you are going to find that 2018 is one of the best years you've ever had as a nonprofit marketer, and I wish you all of the luck and the success in the world, whether you join this program or not. Again, feel free to get in touch with me at alyssa@prosperstrategies.com, and I'll be in your inbox soon with all the follow-up information. Thanks again for joining us.